should not at all involve in changing the character of species. Okay? Thank you. Are you contemplating to become an engineer?
Yes, inshallah.
Have you received enough warning?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, please. Somebody should also tell me when there is time for prayer. Okay?
Assalamualaikum.
Welcome.
So my question was about Baba Guru Nanak. I would like to know whether or not he holds any position in Islam and if he intended to preach Islam.
Again, the news has not reached America. A strange thing indeed, isn't it? Our Masih has written so much on Guru Baba Nanak and his robe that he wore and the Holy Quran which was inscribed on it, etc., etc. And yet people here don't seem to have received that news at all. What can we do about it? Tell me. Why don't you read one of Masih's books on this subject, which is entitled Sat Bachan? Can you read Urdu?
Not any advanced Urdu.
What?
Not any advanced Urdu, just simple, basic.
But I think it's less than basic.
I guess.
This is what I found here. This reminds us that we must pay more attention to the most essential task of teaching good Urdu to all those who hail from Urdu base, from countries where Urdu is spoken. And those who have English base, if they can also learn Urdu like the people of Urdu speaking countries are learning English, then this exchange would be very advantageous to Ahmadiyya, because then they could be able to read Masih's books directly, and you will be able to translate them with greater authority. So you better start doing it seriously. I told German young girls during my conference session with them to do it, and I was happily surprised. Within 2 months, I started receiving letters written in Urdu by those girls who had no knowledge of ABC of Urdu. But because they had a will to follow and they had enthusiasm to practice what I required of them, so with the grace of Allah, they started reading and writing, and also very excellently, effectively translating my addresses simultaneously. This new generation of Ahmadi girls, and now also some Ahmadi boys, but larger number, more girls are involved in this than boys at present, is a treat to watch. They can understand Urdu so well, English so well, German of course, they speak like their own language, and they can work as translators very fluently and better than the previous generation people do. So this I would require you to do, please. The Ahmadi youth here must be taught Urdu very seriously by their own parents in their respective houses. And if they don't know Urdu, then some arrangement should be made by Anti-Ahmadiyya or other organizations like Jalna Mahallah. And as far as MTA goes, I have already started teaching Urdu to all those who do not know Urdu, directly myself. 11 lessons have already been delivered through MTA, and more will follow when I reach home. And inshallah, I propose to teach Urdu to all people in the world, whichever language they speak, directly without the help of any other language, within a matter of a year or two. And then also, inshallah, we'll have a break in between, and when they know enough Urdu, verbal Urdu, then they will be taught how to read and write, so that by 2 years' time, they can start educating themselves. Because a language can be taught within 2 years that it becomes an instrument in your hand to further improve your knowledge of that language. But learning a language is a much longer process than 2 years. So my plan is to teach them enough Urdu, verbal Urdu as well as written Urdu, so that within 2 years they are capable of reading ordinary books, and with the help of dictionaries and friends they advance their knowledge further and become so familiar with the idiom of that language that it comes to them like their own mother tongue. So I advise young Ahmadi boys and girls who are born in America who are unfortunate in not knowing Urdu, which was their parental language, to start learning it again, once again, so that we resolve the problem of communication with the rest of the world. Right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Jazakallah.
I've heard that in heaven there are different levels.
Pardon?
I've heard in heaven there are different levels. Is that true?
Of course it is true.
Could you comment on that? I mean,
You see, everyone has a different level here, hasn't he?
yeah.
You have a different level than others around, while you appear to be the same human beings. Your tastes differ, your appreciation of things differ, your ability to enjoy things differ so much. That something is so tasteful and delicious to somebody's taste, while others are horrified with the very thought of consuming such a thing. Does that not happen?
Yeah.
So already you have answered your own question. If here people are of different tastes and different levels, how could they be amalgamated into one single level in the heaven? They have their own respective heavens. Okay?
Oh, exactly.
Right.
Assalamualaikum, Hazur.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I was listening to you, I had listened to your khutbahs on the Gulf crisis, and I now have a new, I guess, skeptical look at former President George Bush, and especially now at the acts that our president is performing in Haiti and other countries as well as Bosnia. And I was wondering, now that I'm suspicious of their actions, is it right for me to also be suspicious of the actions taken by the forefathers of this nation, like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, who the nation itself, they revered them?
You should not permit yourself to overgeneralize things. It's much wiser to judge things on merit. And things about which you have no basic knowledge should better be left unjudged than for you to judge them rashly and draw wrong conclusions. As far as my study of Abraham Lincoln is concerned, I can't say that of George Washington, but of Abraham Lincoln, I can say with a measure of certainty that he was basically a good, sound human being. And it was that which directed his policies, and he was also very firm in his resolution and very consistent in his actions. So that is why he can be rightly called as the true builder of America, and I would always respect him as such. So just because Bush is behaving like an animal of the bush, you can't say that every president before him